Hey guys, what is up? Niad here with Film Comics Explained, and today we are going to take a look at the first queen to grow on LV-426. The first Acheron Queen was a xenomorph born on Acheron, also known as LV-426, in 2179. She was the original leader of the Hive at the colony of Hadley's Hope, and was later encountered there by a unit of Colonial Marines from the USS Sulaco. The Queen escaped the colony before its destruction and managed to reach the Sulaco by stowing away aboard a dropship, but was killed when she was flushed into space by Ellen Ripley. During the early stages of the Hadley's Hope xenomorph infestation, one of the first creatures to emerge from the early hosts grew into a queen, and subsequently established a hive within the colony's atmosphere processing plant. Once she had fully matured, she began to lay her own eggs as her warriors continued to bring captive colonists to the hive to act as hosts. When a squad of Marines under the command of Lieutenant Gorman, and accompanied by Ripley, arrived at Hadley's Hope to investigate, they were almost wiped out by the xenomorph warriors in an ambush inside the hive, with the few survivors forced to retreat. The Queen herself remained unseen deep within the hive, although Ripley and the other survivors later theorized as to her existence, reasoning that something had to have laid the eggs they saw prior to the ambush. Ripley later came face to face with the Queen during her attempt to rescue Newt, the last survivor from the colony, who had been captured by the xenomorphs and taken to the hive to be impregnated. Facing the Queen alone and surrounded by warriors, Ripley reasoned with the creature, threatening to destroy all her eggs if she and Newt were attacked. Comprehending this, the Queen signaled her circling warriors to ignore them. However, when one of the eggs hatched, Ripley incinerated the nest with her flamethrower and destroyed the Queen's ovipositor with grenades from her pulse rifle's grenade launcher before fleeing. Enraged, the Queen detached herself from her egg sac and pursued the fleeing humans. The Queen utilized an elevator to follow Ripley and Newt up to the landing platform, where she cornered them on the landing pad. Ripley and Newt managed to escape in the Colonial Marines dropship, which arrived before the Queen could close in. During a hasty escape, the dropship collided with the landing pad and collected debris on one of its landing skids, allowing the Queen to hide somewhere in the ship's landing gear, unbeknownst to those on board. Moments after the dropship left, the atmosphere processor went critical. A short while later, in the main hangar of the USCM transport ship USS Sulaco, orbiting above Acheron, the Queen emerged from her hiding place, impaling and ripping the android Bishop in two while he talked to Ripley. She was, however, foiled by Ripley, who fought her off in a power loader.
Get away from her, you bitch!
And threw her into the Sulaco's hangar airlock. Despite using her razor tail and inner jaw, she was subsequently shot out into space, likely burning up as she re-entered LV-426's atmosphere. It later transpired that the Queen had somehow smuggled a single egg aboard the Sulaco. This would later spawn a royal facehugger that implanted a queen embryo within Ripley and later infected a second host with an ordinary embryo. Meanwhile, back on LV-426, the second Acheron Queen soon emerged to create a new hive. As a fairly young specimen, the first Queen on Acheron was notably smaller than other examples that have been encountered. Even so, she still towered over the warriors around her and had a formidable physical presence. While she spent most of her life attached to her enormous ovipositor, when separated, she was a terrifying aggressor with sufficient strength to prove more than a match against her caterpillar P500. As with all queens, the first Queen on LV-426 was endowed with heightened intelligence superior to virtually all other xenomorphs. She was the unequivocal leader of the Hive on LV-426, overseeing and commanding all of the warriors there. Judging by her ability to issue orders, it is possible that the Queen played an important part in the warriors' attacks on the inhabitants and the Marines, orchestrating their assaults in a similar fashion to a military commander. The Queen was also shown to possess adept reasoning and learning skills, able to understand the basic concept of an elevator after seeing it in use only once. It was suggested that she may have chosen the atmosphere processing plant for her hive, not just because of its warm atmosphere, but because she was somehow aware locating it amongst the processor's vital safety systems would help prevent its destruction. It is also debated that she may have had a higher understanding of other emotional concepts. For example, during her ferocious pursuit of Newt aboard the Sulaco, it is not clear whether the Queen was acting merely on instinct, seeking to secure a host for the beginnings of a new hive, or whether she was specifically intending to avenge the destruction of her brood. Either way, I find her beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Unfortunately, that's all that we have time for today. If you enjoyed this video, don't hesitate to like and to subscribe to stay up to date on all my content. Alright guys, stay awesome. Nihat here with Film Comics Explained. Thanks for stopping by.